What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Amateur Hour TV for another video on the second channel for Amateur Hour. On this channel, I go through additional NBA-related topics, especially concerning the Toronto Raptors, that I just do not have time to go through on my main channel, Amateur Hour Sports, this channel right here with over 12,000 subscribers. So instead, we do so on this channel where the vibes are different, a little bit less formal, a little bit more personality goes into these, but I hope it's still that great Raptors content that you love. Past two videos have been general NBA based, just kind of wanted to document those things. We're switching it back. I know that's what you guys want to see, the Raptors specific stuff, and we have that with Malachi Flynn because the Raptors yesterday, before their game against the Cavaliers, the Toronto Raptors picked up the fourth-year option on the contract for point guard Malachi Flynn. And obviously, with a game going on, there were more important things for the Raptors, but this is still something I have a pretty strong opinion on because I wasn't expecting the Raptors to pick up the fourth-year option on Malachi Flynn, but they did. Yesterday was the deadline for them to pick up that option, and I genuinely was not really expecting them to do that. Malachi Flynn so far in his NBA career since getting drafted 29th overall a few years ago now, Malachi Flynn, his NBA career, has just not done anything of note. He's had like maybe a decent run near the end of his rookie season, that Tampa Tank season, where actually, granted, he did win Eastern Conference Rookie of the Month in the month of April, I believe, a couple of years ago. But, I mean, other than that, even including that, what has Malachi Flynn done to warrant this commitment from the Raptors for another 2 years? This is what is really confusing to me. Let's go through the stats of his first 2 years in the NBA. And I'm going to come off like a hater in this. I'm not trying to. I'm not a fan of this contract. I'm not a fan of the player. I'm going to let you know why. At the end of the day, I want nothing more than for Malachi Flynn to succeed with this team, even more especially now. I want nothing more than Malachi Flynn to succeed with this team and solidify his spot as the backup point guard because we really need one of those. Fred can't play 39 minutes per game like he did yesterday against the Cavaliers. Would really love to see him succeed. I just can't really see it happening. And his statistics don't really look like that of a player who has much chance of succeeding. I mean, he's a short guard who just can't shoot. I mean, field goal percentage last 2 years has been brutal. 38% in his 2 seasons combined. 32.6% from three in his first 2 seasons combined. That, along with not putting up many points, not really putting up any additional stats beyond that. I think he's actually like a sneaky, decent rebounder, but like there's just not a lot that this is really nothing that he offers because he's a playmaker, sure, and he's good with the ball in his hands, and he's decent in the pick and roll, but it's very easy to guard him because you just don't really need to go out and defend him on the perimeter. It's a make-or-miss league, and Malachi Flynn misses a lot more than he makes, and that just clogs up the space for the team, and like, just straight up, you got to hit your shots. When he's open for three, he's got to knock down his shots. I have never seen anybody with as smooth of a jump shot as him who just like never hits any threes. And for that reason, the Raptors can't really have him on the court. His defense, which was great in college, he was Mountain West Conference Player of the Year and DPOI in his final season of college, but we've just not seen those talents transition themselves into the NBA. We've seen him in other spots. I mean, in his rookie season, in preseason, he was excellent. We've seen some spurts in the G League. I mean, he's been mostly, I'd say, underwhelming in the G League. He's been solid, but not as good as you'd expect him to be. The only real place where we're seeing this sort of any sort of potential shine through is in Pro-Am games, where, he had 73 points in a Pro-Am game. That was pretty hilarious in the summer. In a Drew League game, DeRozan and LeBron combined for 72. And there was a single Pro-Am game where Malachi Flynn had 73 points. Yeah, just a little bit of humor there. But overall, Malachi Flynn, in terms of what he brings talent-wise, he has not shown signs of developing at all in 2 full years. Like, he had signs of developing near the end of his rookie season. None of those translated into his second season, and he had all the opportunities to do so. I'm really sick of hearing, if he got playtime, if he got opportunities, and he'd be better. Like, we see him on floor. We see him on the floor. We've tried it. Like, he's not warranting any additional playtime when we see him. When we watch him play, you go, oh, that's why he doesn't get playtime, because this is how he plays when he actually does get playtime. Like, you're not handing out playtime here. We're a good team. We won 48 games last season. This isn't some sort of charity here where we're just like, okay, like let's see if he becomes something. No, you got to earn those minutes on the floor, and there's a lot of competition for these spots for the Raptors, especially now with Delano Banton here. If he was making shots and playing well, I have no doubt in my mind that he would be playing in these games. The reality is he just does not have any sort of influence on the games. That's it. There's not much influence. If he can't shoot, he can't be on the floor, and he's not been shooting. Yet still, despite all of this, the Raptors have given him they've taken up his 4th-year option. And the money there, I mean, granted, it's not a lot of money. I get that. We're paying him $2.1 million this season. We're paying him next season nearly $4 million before he would become a restricted free agent. I mean, he might actually I don't even know if we'd offer that qualifying offer. We'll see. But next season, we'd be paying him $3.87 million, as you see here. And that's not a lot, but that's not nothing. That is money you could definitely give to another player who could potentially come into your team and really offer you something as a role player off of the bench. Like, we keep waiting for Malachi Flynn to grow into this backup point guard, but it just isn't really happening ever. It just hasn't happened. And I don't, what I've seen from him, it doesn't look like it ever is going to happen. Now, one point that I've seen online, I also saw in my watch party yesterday on my main channel, Amateur Sports. We do watch parties for every single Raptors game. If you want to check those out, we had a great one yesterday, and we're going to have another great one tomorrow for the Brooklyn Nets game. When I was talking about Malachi Flynn on stream yesterday, somebody mentioned as well that this was the Raptors holding on to a trade asset. This is asset retention for the Raptors. And okay, maybe, yes, you can probably trade him. I am in the mindset that this is bad for his trade value because the Raptors have a lot of tradable contracts right now and also a lot of all of their draft assets available to trade. So if they want to make a mid-season trade, it's possible you can use Malachi Flynn to fill a little bit of salary in those trade discussions. But now he's making $3.8 million next season. He is not worth $3.8 million. I think this is a deterrence in trading him. So now a team that was kind of looking at, if we were going to trade him and they were looking at Malachi Flynn like a salary filler, well, he's no longer just a salary filler because you have to pay him this year, but then you also have to pay him next season. And I'm not sure if any team is going to want to take on the $3.8 million for next season. Granted, it is not a lot of money, but it is taking away a spot and a contract that we could potentially offer a player in free agency who would benefit our team more than Malachi Flynn. I understand it's not a lot. Again, completely understand that. But I think as far as being a trade asset, I think it was better off having an expiring contract for this player rather than having another year on his contract. Now, maybe next season we can trade that contract instead, but wouldn't you rather sign somebody you'd rather have on your team? Like, if your plan is to trade him next season, wouldn't it just make more sense to sign somebody at the end of this season when his contract expires that you actually want on your team, and then maybe you can decide later who you want to trade? Like, the Raptors are not signing him with the thought process of trading him next season. I'm not saying that won't happen, especially at this point, but the notion that you're holding on to a trade asset doesn't make a lot of sense here because nobody is trading for Malachi Flynn because of the player he is and the player they expect him to be. Anytime Malachi Flynn ever gets involved in a trade, in my opinion, in the next year or two, it is going to be just purely because of his salary. So trade asset retention doesn't make sense. Holding on to him for another year when he hasn't done anything to prove he's earned that contract doesn't make sense to me. This is a little bit of a puzzling decision from the Raptors here. Usually very smart organization. And again, this isn't like that big a deal financially, but it's not nothing. And I don't really understand why they decided to give him this contract. And again, I'm going to reiterate my stance. I would like nothing more than for Malachi Flynn to prove me wrong. I would like nothing more than for Malachi Flynn to emerge and show why the Raptors have kept the faith in him. Because the Raptors must be seeing something that I am not if they're willing to give him the 4th year here. But again, hey, we need a backup point guard. Please, Malachi. Like, I've had very, very high claims for you, especially in your rookie season. Like, a lot of good tendencies with the player. He's a very smart. He's got great basketball IQ. You got to make shots. You got to provide more on defense. You got to provide more offensively from a passing standpoint and a playmaking standpoint. He's not doing these things. As a result, you can't have him on the floor for any real minutes, actually. So that's how it is. That's how I see it. I don't know how you guys feel. Let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comments down below. Be sure to like this video if you enjoyed. It does go a long way to supporting the channel, and subscribe to Amateur TV for more content just like this 2, 3, 4 times a week. And I'll see you again next time for another video on Amateur TV.